Thank you.
We're live.
Okay, if I could get approval of our previous meeting minutes.
I'll make the motion to approve last meeting minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
We have two pieces before us this afternoon. The first one is an ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service or his designee, after publicly advertising for bids, to enter into a contract or contracts for the construction of citywide sidewalks 2021 and declaring an emergency. Mr. Leto?
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the committee. This is our annual sidewalk replacement program. As you know, in the past, we typically run a year to year and a half behind in requests. Council was gracious enough to add extra monies in the budget this year to boost the budget up to $700,000, which means we will be able to fill all requests by residents that wanted sidewalks replaced that did not involve a tree all the way through the end of 2020, which only, I don't know how many have come in since the beginning of the year. Now, we are this year going to do some things we experimented with last year. Of those 345 addresses we'll be taking care of, about 175 of those, we're going to do the horizontal cutting. So if the sidewalk is lifted less than 2 inches, and that is caused by tree damage, we're going to horizontal cut that edge off to reduce that trip hazard and try to save that tree. So that is something new we're starting this year to do. The rest of, I believe there's about 115 requests that are tree related that go back into 2020 that still will be a backlog in this program. But one thing, we have the breakdown by ward, and I can get council each address. I was trying to reduce this file and send it all to you, but I'll get it to you guys, all the locations of each ward to each council person. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Leto.
I'm sorry, Madam Chairman. I have one thing I want to add. Out of this 700,000, we are going to this year to the mayor's drive for diversity and inclusion. We're going to try to get a small contractor and do a $50,000 a year program. So instead of bidding all this out as one big program, we're going to try a 50,000. We're going to earmark 50,000, group sidewalks together to try to get a small contractor and work with this small contractor to help him develop him or her. I don't want to say him or hers, their business, and engineering will work with them. And, because sometimes 700 is overwhelming for a small contract, but a $50,000 program we thought would work real well.
Okay, so on here, it states that you're going to be working on ADA access. In the
Yes.
contract. Okay, that's awesome. That's good to know.
Yep.
Are there any questions from any committee members? Mr. McKittrick, Councilman McKittrick.
Thank you, Chair. Just a couple quick questions. When we went over part of the budget, Mr. Leto, I think it said that there were 109 done last year, 432 on the books. So I'm assuming the number that I counted, because I was sent the list of both projects, total out at about 321 for this year. So I'm assuming the 111 that I've estimated left would be the ones that you said probably involve trees from 2020. Okay,
I think my number is 117, so it's real close there, Councilman. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilman Lombardo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So to get on the program for 2021, or at least I know you're going to do all of 2020 work, but to get a call in, the residents have to call 311.
Yes.
And get with the engineering bureau. I think that's what it is.
They'll just call and get their address, and engineering will work with them on they may think they need 3 slabs, and we'll come out and look and says, if you don't take this 4th one, we're not going to be able to match it up, or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? They may come out and say, I want 10, all of them replaced. Engineer will say, you really only need to do 6, that type of thing. But sometimes we get into driveway approaches, and driveway approaches, obviously, are 6-inch slabs where once you get off the driveway approach, the slab is only 4-inch on the walkable surface between the driveway approaches. That's why we would never concrete or horizontal cut. It's always 2 inches or less. We can't take more than half the slab.
Okay. So under the program, whatever, needs replaced will be replaced by the city. If the residents want to do, a few extras, then that's on them, and it'll be billed through their property taxes if they so choose.
Yeah, they can do as much as they want. I mean, they can do the whole thing. If they want brand new from driveway approach, that's up to them. But obviously they'll be assessed, it's $25.25 a linear foot, per slab. So they'll get an estimate before anything's okay. We wouldn't proceed until they signed off. And then, like you said, they could either put that on their taxes, or they'll get a bill and they could pay it all at one time.
Okay, but what's damaged is covered by the city.
Well, if it's damaged by a tree.
Yes. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do I have any other questions from committee members or council members? Councilman Mallett?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Luddle. Doing several hundred of these, I think sounds great. I know that this is a thing that we hear often from constituents. The remaining, I think you said 117. Are those all from 2020, or are some of those from previous years?
All 2020.
Okay, great. Well, that's all I had, and seeing that list would be really helpful.
Sure.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Are there any other questions from council members? I'm seeing none. Mr. Little, what's your pleasure?
Consent's fine.
Okay. Can I get a motion for consent?
I'll make the motion for consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay, our last piece, ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with Summit County for the resurfacing of Smith Road, authorizing the Director of Finance to make payment therefore and declaring an emergency. Mr. Little?
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of committee. We're partnering with Summit County Engineer. They received a grant for $700,000 through AMATS to resurface Smith Road. So the portion that's going to be done this year through this program is basically from Sand Run to our corporation limit to the west, which is real near Lake of the Woods. So our portion of this project is about 10% of the overall cost. If you look in the UCR, you can see the $700,000 grant they received, the $392,000 at Summit County Engineer, and then our general obligation is 76, and the other 21 is paid through assessments. So Smith Road from Sand Run out, not quite to Gent Road, as you know, will be resurfaced. Now, in our program that when we reduced our budget last year because we didn't know how bad COVID was, that part of that part of Smith Road will be done this year. And a portion of that will be paid by Cuyahoga Falls. And so basically from the roundabout at the bottom of the big hill, as I call it, all the way through, Sand Run will be resurfaced this year.
Oh,
2 different programs though, just to be clear.
okay.
This legislation is just from Sand Run to the corp limit out by Lake of the Woods.
Okay. Any questions from committee members? Any questions from council members? Councilman Mallett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Luddle. With regard to the timeline, this is going to start in August, is that correct?
I believe that's Summit County's managing this project. So yes, I think that's what they're doing.
Okay, and then the portion east of Sand Run Road would be before?
It would be sooner, yes.
Okay, And
Yes.
how are these two projects going to impact the Smith Road traffic study that we're hoping to do this year?
Well, I mean, I don't think it should impact it at all. As far as we won't be out there doing any traffic counts while they're resurfacing, obviously that wouldn't come out very well. So this type of thing, in our portion, I see them milling this in maybe 2 or 3 days at the most, and then resurfacing basically the same thing. We may shut the hill down while we resurface. I mean, we've done that in the past when we've cleaned inlets just because of the danger of that hill. So we've set that detour up before, like I said, when we clean inlets or we did some heavy patching on that hill. I haven't seen the MOT yet for the resurfacing, but even if we shut that down, it would be after 9 a.m. You know what I'm saying? And we wouldn't be during rush hour.
Okay. I know there's a concern expressed by some of the residents, particularly Lake of the Woods, that with the reduced traffic, especially to Signet during COVID, that probably doing the traffic study in the next couple months probably doesn't make sense. And so if we're talking about the third or fourth quarter of this year, if the Summit County project takes a couple of weeks or a month or 2 months, that could potentially push this traffic study into 2022. Does that sound right, or do you think we could still get it?
You know what? I'll get back to you on that. I'm not really sure. Okay. Because I haven't seen all the plans on this Summit County. They may be rebuilding a few of the inlets in their project. So that might not just be a typical mill and fill as we're used to. So let me get the details on that and I'll get back to you.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay. Are there any other questions from council members? Not seeing any. Mr. Little, what's your pleasure?
A consent's fine, Madam Chair.
Okay. Can I get a motion for consent?
I'll make the motion for consent.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it, and we have nothing else coming before us, so we are adjourned.
Our next committee for today will begin at 2:15, and that'll be the Public Safety Committee. Those committee members are Kamer, Samples, Swirsky, Malik, and McKittrick. And again, we'll begin at 2:15. Thanks.
I'm going to keep the live stream going and mute everyone.
Sarah, this is Linda Mobian. Sarah,
Hi, Linda.
how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Well, what are you doing with these meetings? You're running 5-minute meetings or something?
We're still live on YouTube. We're getting ready to start public safety at 2:15.
Oh, so I need to call you on the telephone. Okay. I'll call you later. Bye.
Hey, it's 2:15, and we can begin the Public Safety Committee meeting. Again, those committee members are Kamer, Samples, Swirsky, Malik, and McKittrick. We do have all members present except for Swirsky.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I'd like to move forward and call the public safety meeting to order, please. We did hold a meeting last week, And we do have minutes to approve, so can I get a motion to approve those, please?
Motion to approve minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? All right, thanks. We do have 2 old pieces and 1 new piece in front of us today. The old pieces, we're going to continue taking time. I would like to notify the council members that the sponsors of both pieces are speaking with the law department, and hopefully next Monday we will have a substitute to bring in to start discussing. With that, if there's no questions, I would like to move forward onto the new item that we have. I'll ask the committee if there is any questions. If not, I would like to move on to the new item. All right, don't look like we have any hands raised, so we will move on. All right, moving on, we do have this new piece. It's an ordinance authorizing the purchasing agent to enter into a contract or contracts without the formality of publicly advertising for bids with the American Blaze Masters for the purchase of equipment to upgrade current self-contained breathing apparatus, other known as SCBA, for the use by the Akron Fire Division and declare an emergency. I see we have a few folks here. I'll go ahead and call on our Akron Fire Department Chief Tucker first.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to be here and appreciate you taking a look at this with us. And this is something that District Chief Dave O'Neill has been working on for us, and I'm going to defer to him to tell you all about it.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thanks, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. As you mentioned, this is a sole source purchase request to upgrade our SCBA harnesses that we currently have. We're looking to move to a non-textile type of harness that is rubberized, which is easy to decontaminate following a fire. This is all part of our, clean cab and not taking carcinogens back to the fire station initiative, all in an attempt to reduce cancer. There's also another piece to this, which is to purchase some not SCBA equipment, but SABA, supplied air breathing equipment or device, which is used by our technical rescue team in confined space. It's a breathing apparatus that's actually hooked to a hose. The reason for this purchase is 1, to upgrade, and 2, to make all of our stuff uniform, because we currently were using stuff from 2 different manufacturers. I think, as you mentioned, this is all part of the Assistance of Firefighter grant. So these funds have been previously awarded. So we're using federal money, federal dollars, to make this purchase. The sole source is because Blaze Master has been our Interspiro distributor throughout this process. So I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate it. I'll go to the hands raised function to see if we have any committee members that have any questions first or comments. All right, I don't see it. Oh, Councilman Malik.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, Chief O'Neill. Just want to say that really appreciate the continued work of everyone in the fire department, making cancer reduction and contaminant reduction a priority. I know this is something that you've really focused on, Chief Tucker. So really appreciate that work.
Thank you. We thank you for your support as well. So
absolutely. And it's a big issue with me. Again, if you don't know, or if you haven't heard me say before, between 64 and 65% of all firefighters come down with some kind of cancer in their lifetime. And I'm really working hard, and so is all of my staff, to reduce those numbers. And we're doing everything possible to make a change.
Councilman, you're muted.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate that. Let's see if we have any other comments or questions. It don't look like that. So I will ask District Chief O'Neill, what's your pleasure? What are you thinking?
I'd love to suspend the rules on this if we could, please.
All right, thank you. Can I get a motion for that?
I'd like to move for suspension of the rules with a favorable report.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor? Aye.
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 We have ayes. Anybody opposed? All right, with that, thanks, Chief. I appreciate all the hard work from the Akron Fire Department. And this evening I'll present that and we'll get it going. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, I believe nothing else is in front of us, so we are adjourned. Thank you.
Our next committee will begin at 2:30, and that will be the Rules Committee. Those committee members are Freeman, Fusco, Amobian, Connor, and Mollett. We'll stop the live stream and come back at 3 o'clock.